Hi, this is Carretero Family.
We are from East Los Angeles, Boyle Heights. You're watching Channel 35, our city, our channel.
In 2016, this is the regular meeting of the Los Angeles Board of Police Commissioners. Madam Secretary, please call the roll.
Good morning. Let the records reflect Commissioners Johnson, Sobroff, Figueroa Villa, and Saltzman are present, and we have a quorum. Number one on the agenda, consent agenda items. We have comment cards on 1A, 1A, 4A, I'm sorry, I'm confused here. Just 1A and 1B.
Would any of my fellow commissioners like to pull items 1C, D, or E?
I move approval of items 1C, D, and E.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, the comment card for 1A, Prentice Jenkins.
Good morning.
Going to be reading from the Bible of the Brown Act. Ralph M. Brown. 60 years ago, Assemblyman Ralph M. Brown of Modesto, acting in part on his own experience with the secrecy of local government officials, authored California's landmark open meeting law to ensure bodies like
Mr. Jenkins, this item is item 1A relative to the donation of shooting training days valued at $280.
Wow, was I off? Relative to the... Oh, okay. Shooting. Is this
Item 1. Item 1A.
1A. Shooting to the relative to the donation of shooting training day fees. Wow, is this the movie? Training day. I saw them. It was a great movie. Jeez. Value 200. Now, or is this a booster club that wants to shoot? Go out and do target practice? I understand what this means. For the benefit of Topanga area as set forth. Number one, who are the boosters? Topanga boosters. And what do they have to do with the police department? And why are they getting $280 if they're not cops? 54956-3 says you folks can answer me.
The boosters are donating the money to the division.
The district is. I'm sorry, I didn't hear that.
The boosters are donating the money to the division.
Oh, to the division. Oh, okay. Shoot. How do I contact those boosters if they're donating money?
Why don't you just read what we have there, and it's got their phone number and address, instead of using your time here to ask stuff that you didn't read that's right before you.
It's not on here.
Yes, it is.
Where's it at?
Look through your agenda.
Relative to the donation of shooting training day fees, I don't see their telephone number on here, on the agenda.
Mr. Jenkins, as I've told you in the past, all of the agenda items for the public session are in a book on the back table, and you can read the agenda reports before the meeting or when the items are posted on the agenda website on Friday afternoon.
My face is red. Sorry about that.
Do I have do we have any other
We have
comments
no
on
other
this
cards
item?
on this side.
Do I have a motion on this item? Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Okay, we do have one comment card on item 1B. We have the Red Chief Hunt.
The Red Chief Hunt, for the record. I think that we ought to stop doing donations and really get back to department issues like the Metro Police Department and get them funded so that they can have proper guidance to really man the city of Los Angeles. From what I hear, their officers are complaining.
We have no other comment cards on this
Approval
side.
of the item.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
We're now on item number 2, commission comments.
Do any of my fellow commissioners have any comments this morning?
No, sir.
Neither. Do we have any comments?
We have 6 comment cards. We have Jojo Smith, Paula Miner, Jamie Garcia, the Red Chief Hunt, Prentice Jenkins, and Kai Utsumi.
Jojo Smith, Los Angeles Community Action Network, Stop LAP Spying Coalition. Matt, we today's the day. You need to come meet with the community and stop bullshitting. Stop being rubber stamp, and really meet with the community. Because this right here is just bullshit. You know, you should be sitting around behind the city seal, not the police seal. Because you work for the city, not for the police. So stop being rubber stamp and stop being a coward and come meet with the community.
Thank you.
And for the record, please let the record reflect Commissioner Kim is now present. The next speaker, Paula Miner, followed by Jamie Garcia.
Good morning.
Good morning. I'm speaking in reference to the letter that we submitted to the Commission on February 2nd, where we asked for some kind of response by today, February 16th. And we had expected that if there was going to be a response, that it would occur during the Commission comments item number 2. It appears so far that there is no Commission response. One of the things I'd like to mention is that we requested a community meeting. And I do need to remind the Commission that in 2014, there were at least 6 community meetings held by the Commission. Not all the current members, Mr. Johnson, of course, were not present. And in 2015, up to May of 2015, there were at least 5 community meetings in various parts of the city. So we're not asking for something that is unobtainable. We're not asking for something that can be ignored. Again, we would like to have an answer to the letter that we submitted from the 3 groups, Black Lives Matter, LA Can, and the Coalition to Stop LAPD Spying, that we presented on February 2nd.
Thank you. I've been out of town, but will be responding to that letter today.
So, Jamie with Stop LAPD Spying Coalition. So, well, that's good to hear that you're going to be responding to the email. I've been out of town. It's been about 2 weeks that we gave for that for a response. So just to kind of step back again to this back and forth that's been happening, is that most of the resistance is coming from you, Matt Johnson, because you initially wanted to meet with us, but you wanted to meet with each group individually. You wanted to meet in this space. But then when we responded to you, we said, no, we're actually 3 groups that have been coming here consistently with the same kind of concerns, with the same demands, with the same concerns. We saw ourselves as a unified community that wanted to meet together with our constituents in public. And then there was pushback from that. And so that, let's just call that out right now. That's the issue right now, is that you don't want to meet in public with us because of your perception of who we are, because of the concerns that we had. So that brings me to my second point of what community is acknowledged, what community is respected, what community actually gets to engage in dialogue with you. And you may not have liked the kinds of demonstrations that we've had inside this police commission, but it's primarily because you have chosen not to meet with us, because you've chosen not to see us, and you've made it only based on your concerns, not in a way where it's actually convenient for the community to meet with you in a setting that's comfortable for the community, in an environment that makes them feel relaxed, like they can actually speak with you. So I think that as you respond to this email today, I'd like those things to be incorporated into your thoughts of whether or not you're going to meet with us, because you know that's going to be what our demands are, that we want it to be in public, we want it to be with our constituents, we want it to be in a space where we're not surrounded by law enforcement, and we want it to be within the community. So again, I want you just to take this time to realize that we will keep coming back. We will be demonstrative, we will be loud, we will be direct, we will be substantive, but we will continue to do that until you meet in a way where it's convenient for the community.
As you know, I've offered to meet with you before. I will be responding to the letter, and you'll feel free to respond as you see fit. Thank you.
Thank you.
The Red Chief Hunt, followed by Prentice Jenkins.
The Red Chief Hunt on the record. Well, the time has come for all the commissioners to really understand that LAPD has no training program. Very valuable on Channel 4 News that they came out, and your own officers from Metro came out and said that we're trained so poorly that we can't do our jobs. I watched your interview. I was really disappointed. Then, second of all, if you don't take me serious, at least take my article serious. Matt, I don't know how big your house is, but it could have Michael Hunt's name on it. And they tell you, don't worry about that. But now they got the two black guys fighting with each other. Your legalese are all right. Mine has proven a true factor in the city of Los Angeles twice. Here again, I try to tell you, get out the hot seat, find a better position, meet with the community, and listen to what we're saying. I beat 500 city attorneys. Could none of them see my paperwork over there? We walked right over to the courts, and that was Dale Fisher and Federal Judge Obgwin, and he can tell you my legalese were just amazing, amazing. Now, they going to put you up on the front line, and then I get to interview you, we get to do depositions, and I get to own your house. Is that what you really want? That's sad. When it comes down to it, you'll be sitting in depositions, and they'll be paying you here another big settlement, because I try to handle it very cool, in a cool manner. You just can't do what you want to do in these meetings. And that go to for all the commissioners. Look at the Barry Sanders report.
Prentice Jenkins, City Life newsletter, publisher, activist since 1991. We discussed my issue on the Brown Act last week, which was significant. If anyone's never seen Ralph M. Brown, that's him. That's what he looks like. He died in 1966, born in 1908. This is a brilliant man. He set these meetings up. He passed this law to ensure that we were fairly treated in these meetings. It said he passed it 60 years ago on a landmark opening meeting law to ensure bodies like boards, supervisors, and city councils conducted their business in public. The people of the state do not yield their sovereignty. He said, these are the words of Michael Harris, a young reporter of the San Francisco Chronicle, who in 1952 wrote a 10-part series of secrecy practiced by supervisors, council members, and school districts. Brown, a Democrat, died in 1947, but his legislative accomplishments have grown from 2.5 pages to nearly 45 pages. Brown, frankly, the league believed there was no reason for the city should continue to take brunt use of it. It says that he would go to these meetings. This man would go to meetings like this. Ralph M. Brown would go to meetings. He'd hear you talk about one thing at the meeting publicly, and then privately, you'd come up with something else. He actually experienced this. That's why he wrote it. This man experienced what we're writing. He's been to these meetings over 60 years ago and watched people lie and do backdoor deals, say one thing in public, and then go into closed meeting and do something different. So this is, if you've never seen Ralph M. Brown, that's what he looks like. This is your thorn in your side. That man right there.
White, black, Hispanic?
Look at it.
Kai Utsumi, followed by Akili.
This is addressed to the police commission, especially Matt Johnson. There is no democracy without critical analysis for human rights, which includes the U.S. Constitution's freedom of speech. We expected you to meet with our group who represents the poor, homeless community in Skid Row and Black Lives Matter and Stop LAPD spying and Stop LAPD spying. We engage in critical analysis based on human rights, and yet you refuse to meet with us. You only meet with those who agree with your prison condition. You could recommend publicly that Chief Bick stop all these unjustified police killing. You don't order him, but you recommend publicly, starting with Charlie Cunang's Africa and Izal White. These police trigger-happy killing of innocent young black and brown youth will continue against the human right unless it is stopped. And it hasn't been stopped, not in one case.
Akili.
Good morning, Commission members. My name's Akili, and I came here last Tuesday to express my outrage, disgust, and disappointment. Good to see you, Chief Paysinger, about the decision that you all made regarding the approval of the recommendation around Brother Africa. I was disappointed, disgusted, and outraged. But before I could express myself, however, I didn't have an opportunity because I was offended how one member of the public was treated. One member of the public was warned and admonished. I took exception with that. I made it known that I did not like that expression, and I felt it was unnecessary and unfounded. I was asked to leave and arrested. That, I think, sent a message to me and to others that our presence, our interest, and our concern are not felt here. And so once again, we are asking for this commission to come out and have public sessions, to share with us, and not without the presence of all these police. It's unfortunate that many citizens come here. They spend their time, they spend their energy, they spend their money to come to express themselves to you. And in many cases, we feel that two things are happening. One, you either rubber stamp what's going on. Two, you don't listen to us. And three, you work for the police and not for the people. And so we're asking you, one, to add to the agenda for next week the decision to either have public, accessibly community meetings or not. Two, we are asking that you reply to us by at least February 23rd. And three, we are asking that you condone and support the need for community meetings, accessible community meetings, without the necessary presence of law enforcement. And we're asking that for next Tuesday, February 23rd. So that is our request, and we think it's a reasonable one.
Thank you for your comments.
We have no other comment cards on this item. We're now on item number 3, the report of Chief of Police, Chief Paysinger.
We will postpone that, and let's move to item 4A.
Okay, item number 4A, we do have 2 public comment cards.
I had a question.
Morning.
Okay, this department's report dated February 12, 2016, relative to the Harbor Area Detective Command Accountability Performance Audit.
I actually didn't have any questions related to the audit itself, but I noticed that this was the first audit of this kind. Just could you let me know this general schedule of these types of audits across all the divisions?
We've actually done 20 of these in a span of about, I want to say 3 or 4 years. We're going to do 2 more, get through all the divisions, and then at that point we'll consolidate it into a bureau, Detective Kappa, so that the bureau
was this one of the final ones for you before you've?
Yeah, we're actually doing one more.
One more
after this one, an area that wasn't touched, and then we'll be completed the entire city.
And then you'll do a comprehensive report on all of the divisions?
Well, we're actually going to break it down by bureaus. Okay. Instead of doing individually, we'll do bureaus all together. It'll be a quicker process. It'll be great information for each bureau chief and be able to dissect it a little bit easier, I think.
And it's the intention every 3 years to re-audit this area? Division?
It actually took us about that much to get through the entire city, all 21 divisions. It took us about that long.
And going forward, is that what you anticipate also?
No, going forward, it should be much quicker because we're actually going to consolidate the audits into a bureau, Kappa. So we'll do each bureau. Hopefully within a 6-month period, we'll be able to do one bureau.
Okay. Any questions from my fellow commissioners?
I just thought the results were congratulatory.
Thank you, sir.
Very strong performance on this.
Yeah, they did very well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And we
have 3 comment cards.
Okay, please call the comments.
The Red Chief Hunt, Prentice Jenkins, and Michael Williams.
4A.
And this is regarding the
Harbor Area Detective Command Accountability Performance Audit.
I got a few questions myself. Who's actually doing the audit? Are the police commissioners involved with this audit?
This is a department-prepared audit.
But I mean, are you guys actually overseeing it?
The audit comes to us for review, yes.
Okay. Then they rubber stamp it. What is being done about the community policing area in this area to accommodate? Last time I was listening to the news and the San Pedro division and things like that, I heard about building a whole bunch of police stations, but I never heard anything about a whole bunch of jobs. And that kind of confuses me, that when we're trying to incarcerate people that are active and audit the detectives for what they're doing. But I mean, I think that here again, we should switch gears to the detectives actually working in a community-based police area and performing services to the community versus always arresting them. It's cute to arrest people, but it's even better yet to have a service that provides jobs and stuff for the people, so we can cut down on the arrests and more community-based policing. That's the Red Chief Hunt. VoteHunt2016.com.
Prentice Jenkins.
Prentice Jenkins, City Life Newsletter, publisher City Life Newsletter, activist since 1991. Seems to me that you should actually have a, instead of putting it back there in the book, you should have those documents with the agenda, because we can't stand here in the middle of the meeting and read this back there. And we can't get in here before 9 o'clock. So it seems to me that the board should publish these along with the agenda. So before we get in the meeting, we can read about the accountability performance audit of the Harbor Area Detective Command. We don't know what happened in this audit. It says the Harbor Area Detective Command accountability. We don't know how many detectives are accountable for this, because we have to read it in that book. There's a lot of activity back there. You can barely get back there. And then you got to stand and try and read that book while this is going on. This doesn't make any sense. President Johnson, could you put together take that book and attach it to this agenda? It'll be a lot easier for us to understand how to read this, because I'm from public school. So it's going to take me a while, right? It's take me a while to understand this. Okay, so I appreciated that if you folks did that. Also,
I'll look into that, Mr. Jenkins.
Okay, thank you. Now, at this point, I'm stalling. Hang on, I'm stalling. And Harbor Area Detective 19, 16, yeah. And, the Detective Command Accountability, yeah. So you folks, I appreciate it if you would really look into that. And I could do a soft shoe in 5 seconds.
Thank you for your comments.
Thank you.
Mr. President, if I may, for Mr. Jenkins' edification and the rest of the community, when the items are listed on the agenda, and you obviously look at the agenda online, on the right side you will see BPC and then a number and a blue hyperlink. If you click on that hyperlink, it'll take you right to the documents. All of the public session documents are listed online when the agenda is posted on Thursday afternoon or Friday morning. Then I suggest you go to a library or any other public facility to get that. That is not the Commission's responsibility to get you internet service.
Michael Williams.
Yeah, because if you saw, Steve Soboroff told Matt that, that wasn't going to fly. So basically, again, we see that the commission is not a community-friendly commission. It is for the police. They want to keep us out of the loop as much as possible. That's why they're not going to put the actual articles into the agenda, because their agenda pretty much sucks. I mean, look at the agenda. Everybody could take a look at the agenda right now. There's like 3 items on there. None of them have anything to do with what the community is concerned about regarding policing. Everything has to do with police matters and matters of what the police are doing and self-auditing bodies that are supposed to be a charge of accountability for police departments. Again, you can't self-check yourself. Most of the time when somebody checks you for your accountability, it's usually somebody outside of your from yourself. Because it's a biased opinion if you try to audit yourself. And the police audit, this police accountability audit for detectives, is silly because it's done by the police department themselves. So why are they going to come out and say something different or anything bad about their own officers when that's them? That's who they are. That's a part of their community. The agenda sucks. We need to get stuff fixed. You need to start focusing on things that the community is worried about instead of worrying about what the police are worried about. All I ever see on the commission agendas is donations or something about getting more guns to officers, permitting more firearms to police officers. That's all ever I see on these police commission, or deleting obsolete files. I don't think that's something that needs to be community discussed. And it's sad that you say that you won't supply a copy of records or documents for the people to sit here and read while they're going through. It's sad.
We have no other comment cards on this item.
All in favor? Any opposed? No.
Okay, would you like to go to item number 3, Mr. President? The card was in late, sir. The card was in late.
What item you're on when you walk in.
We will. We are going to. Let's move to the. Mr. Hayes. Mr. Hayes, can you please have a seat? Mr. Hayes, can you please have a seat? I said, can you please have a seat? He can speak. He can submit a card on public comment on the chief's report. Please have a seat. Let's move to public comment.
Okay. We're on item number 5, public comment. We have 7 comment cards.
We will be coming back to the chief of police report after public comment. We are going to come back to the chief of police report after public comment. The chief of police is not here. We wanted to have the chief of police give his report. If he cannot make it in time, we will then Chief Pasinger will give the report. But I'm giving him every opportunity to give his report. We are now on. We did not skip it. We are coming back to it.
But he didn't get his card in on time for number 4 because you skipped.
This debate is over. We are now on public comment. Please call the speakers.
We have 8 comment cards. The first 4 speakers, Paula Miner, the Red Chief Hunt, Prentice Jenkins, and Michael Williams. Again, the first 4 speakers.
He can submit a card for public comment.
He has a card in for public
Anyone can
comment.
submit a card for public comment.
He has a public comment card for this item.
He has a card in.
So, Ms. Miner, would you like to speak?
Again, I submitted the comment card for number 5 because I expected that we would have the chief's report prior to public comment. But in any case, I'm reiterating our need to have some of our meetings in more accessible time and place. I know this sounds redundant, but we've been asking for it for months and months and months. Also, I would like to just point out that the Public Safety Committee meets at the same time as the commission meets. Some of the members of our group who are interested in both, what happens at the commission and what happens at the Public Safety Committee are at that particular meeting. And it seems that some of the issues that public safety is talking about when they talk about the rate of crime and how much it costs for LAPD and the city to fight crime, that those issues need to be discussed here. They're rarely discussed here. So we do have a conflict in time, and that's why it's important to look at why we have to be here at 9:30 when also City Council committee is meeting at the same time, the Public Safety Committee.
Thank you.
The Red Chief Hunt.
Well, good thing I wasn't a statistic this weekend. I didn't go to jail. 74 times I've been there, and all what for me trying to work, basically. When you look at my arrest and you look at the nothing of it and you look at how much money it costs the city, over $5 million, you would wonder, why would we want to stop somebody from working and get sued again? I've been down here for 10 years. I'm not going nowhere till you guys stop fucking with me at my job. And, you know, this is why everybody, you know, is chanting this tune right here, because this is what happens to working people. Now, how many minorities have you guys killed? And this is why people are saying, fuck the police, because you guys are arresting us for working. You guys are arresting us just basically for nothing. Do I feel it? Yeah, 74 times. Is that racial profiling? 74 times. Now, what commissioner can step up to the plate and fix that? 74 times. Should it be at the Department of Justice? Should LAPD be actually investigating themselves? Should they even be doing comments? Should it be the Christopher Commission or the Federal Consent Decree? You ask yourself, how many people that can investigate themselves and come up with a good solution? And this is why everybody's saying fuck the police. No matter how you say it or no matter what you do, this is what we all think about you guys.
Prentice Jenkins, followed by Michael Williams.
Prentice Jenkins, City Life newsletter publisher, activist since 1991. This is the Brown Act, folks. This governs what they can do to us and what they can't do to us in here. Open public meetings. It says the League of Cities helped draft this law. And it says, of Harris findings, with the support of the California Newspaper Publishers Association, you folks called the media. I guess they call them the media. They waiting on Kim Kardashian's ass to come in here. That's the only time they're going to do anything. That's the only time media does anything anymore, with the exception of Channel 4. Everybody loves Conan Nolan. It says they turned to legislative. And Brown found that they found a sympathetic ear in Brown. He was the first elected to the Assembly in 1943. Brown had his own encounters with local government secrecy. The legislature was still a part-time job. According to Brown's daughter, Valerie Pearson of Modesto, on more than one occasion, Brown went to an open local government meeting in Modesto area on behalf of his clients. He was a lawyer. While he was there, the officials would agree to one thing, but after he left, they would meet in secret and change their votes. I remember him talking about going to meetings and having things decided, and the next day finding out they had a meeting after the meeting, and that's when they really decided things, Pearson said. That's his daughter. As Harris noted, when it came to open meetings, Ralph M. Brown had been double-crossed. They double-crossed the man who passed this legislation. Folks like this. I'm not saying they did it, but folks like that double-crossed it. It apparently didn't dawn on them, officials, that the lawyer they were trying to hoodwink had the power to write laws. And in January 1953, he introduced a bill that 9 months later would become the Ralph M. Brown Act. Thank you.
Thank you.
Michael Williams. followed by Ted Hayes, Jacqueline Richardson, Patricia Mendoza, and Sasha.
You know, all the people in this community right here behind me are asking you guys to meet with them. I really don't care because I'm kind of done with all of you. All of you sat here 2 weeks ago and made a decision about Charlie Africa that was abhorrent. It was horrible. It was terrible. It affected a whole community that's right next to you guys, Skid Row community. This man was viciously beaten and killed, and you guys saw to it that his life meant nothing, that it was okay that he was murdered. It was okay that he was killed. So I just want all of you guys to know that y'all all on the hook. Matt Johnson, any little bit of respect that I had for you is gone. I never had any respect for Steve Soboroff, so. And the rest of you on the commission, you guys are just as bad. Kathleen Kim, Sandra, T-Fank, everybody. Okay? All of you could have Robert Saltzman, he's a part of it too. You know, I'm glad you think it's a joke. I'm glad you think it's funny. I'm glad you think it's funny that a guy died and his family doesn't have justice for what happened to him. I'm glad you think that's funny, Steve Soboroff. I'm happy that you think that's a hilarious joke. It's all a joke to you guys. It's all funny. Until one day you're not here, because I'm going to make sure of it. I'm going to make sure that this commission goes down, because you all are part of the system that oppresses black people. Y'all all a part of the system that hurts us and tears us down. You're supposed to be a part of the community. You're supposed to be here for the community, but you don't do anything for the community. Your agenda proves it. Yeah, so you can smile at me, you can wave at me, you can joke, but this is not a joke to me. This is my family, and this is my people's lives. And you see by Super Bowls, by the Grammys, that people are starting to wake up. What are you going to do when they finally come here and they're looking for answers? What are you going to say?
Ted Hayes. Mr. Ted Hayes, followed by Jacqueline Richardson, Patricia Mendoza, and Sasha.
There are two monitors here. They can project what you're doing, covering right now, on any one of the screens you have here. But that doesn't happen. So when we come in, we have no way of knowing what items are being discussed with a card in. Why would you have a rule saying you can't submit a card once the item's been called, unless every access to accommodating an item is available to the public? You have an overflow room which you never allow people to go into. When the president anticipates a crowded auditorium, the overflow room is supposed to be open. Well, 3 occasions it's not been open. What I'm saying is you can't expect people to respect you when you disrespect them by violating your own rules, because those rules enhance the ability for the public to address you. First of all, it's testimony when you speak about an agenda item. It's not public comment, it's testimony. If you peruse the Brown Act carefully, you'll see two terms, public comment and testimony. Testimony, of course, you can understand what that is. So I would like to comment on the Harbor Division detectives. I really would. I insist upon that. And we'll have a showdown on that particular item, because either I testify on that or you arrest me for being out of order. Very simple. All right? But no response to the fact that when the overflow room was not provided, nobody apologized, nobody explained it. It was just done. And the public suffered for that because they could not get in. They stood in the lobby and were harassed by the police with unlawful assemblies. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Jacqueline Richardson.
The subject involves the Army, Navy, Air Force, and Marine Corps. This is taken from an article published in the Times twice in early 2000. It's like a paraphrase. some of these things are implied, but they didn't exactly state some of these statements. The LA Times in early 2000 stated that they hired immigrants to join the Army, Navy, Air Force, and Marine Corps. The services, I believe you have to volunteer to get into the service. The immigrants were invited into the service to fight in the Iraqi war. In order to get benefits, they promised the immigrants benefits. I would like to know how many immigrants from Russia they hired, how many black Russians, how many white Russians, how many Mexican Russians, and how many Chinese Russians did they invite to join the services. And finally, how many Americans are in the volunteer army? There's one problem. I heard one or two people say that they didn't get the benefits they were promised when they joined the Army. They have these inducements to give them these nice benefits, and when they joined, they didn't get the benefits. So a few people complained about that.
Patricia Mendoza.
Good morning. With all due respect, the last time I was here in regards to a property that was stolen from me, from my brother and his notary friends and escrow. I would like to share with the president and all the commissioners and with Mr. Chief Beck. I received a letter indicating that the investigation they've done within 3 weeks lately, that they find that nothing was done. They did not interview me. All my paperwork, all my original documents were lost. In 2008, my brother did sign a letter indicating the responsibility and that he would be giving me back my house with all the debt that he took out, notarized. I provided everything upstairs. I don't understand why Mr. Paysinger will sign something without getting to know me or finding out, was there a proper interview given to me with ethics? How I feel right now as a taxpayer, with all due respect, I feel that I've been treating as a 2004 with discrimination practices. It's called racism and bias. And I would like to inform the public and remind them that it took the first black African man here in downtown California that became an attorney. He was not allowed to practice law, but after 15 years he was. I've been trying to get a police report because that's what the mortgage and everybody wants. I've been trying as of 2004 and present, it's 12 years. I hope and I pray that I'm still around another 3 years. And if that man was given the power and the right to practice law, this black African man, why can't I have a little bit of faith and hope that someone good in this office needs to help me, because I do believe there is someone good. My question is, and I know you cannot answer me, Mr. Beck, did you authorize Mr. Paysinger to sign this document? It is wrong. It is ethical. Thank you.
Sasha.
If you will allow, Sasha has kindly deferred her time to me. My name is Yvonne Michelle Autry. Was that acceptable to the commission?
Did she already speak? Did she speak?
Oh, okay. Well, first of all, what I'd like to say by her under her advisement is that we do object to your making closed a session what is most relevant and most important and most timely and which is deserving for the entire community to be present and to witness just the exchange of what is happening. Okay, that's by design so that you do not encounter any opposition to what is being said. So I'm speaking specifically relative to closed session item number 6. That should be open to the public. I'm going to comment on it anyway. But per my own personal comment relative to your findings about Africa, I do know that that was a sacrifice. I'd heard that police officers had been there prior to the ones that did murder in cold blood an innocent, harmless law-abiding American citizen, although he was from Africa. I'd done research and found out that he was a very kind, very gentle, and a very peaceable person. And I know that those are the types that your alcohol, tobacco, firearm, Masonic, and satanic worshipers and devotees used to sacrifice. We are the sacrificial lambs, unfortunately, and that is partially why the reservoir of the Skid Row of Skid Rowdians, as we like to call them, is maintained, because not only is it a business for the service providers, there's access for sex slaves, for your Secret Service officers, undercover police officers, off-duty officers, CIA, black ops, special ops. It's no longer confidential because we're exposing it, not only Prentice, but myself, and your continual sexual exploitation of black men and women. And when that isn't enough in terms of your sacrificial devotion to your higher-ups, your Masonic, Shriner, your overseers, if you will, then you do murder. And I know that that is what happened in this case, because it was just an exchange. There was no need for that shed of blood. And it was cold murder. And we're going to continue until those findings are recognized. And you need to have your meetings open to the public, so you're liable for suits and for other.
Do we have any more comments?
We
have no other comment cards, sir.
Okay, so we'll move to item 3, report of the Chief of Police.
Morning, Chief.
Good morning, Commissioners. I apologize for being delayed to coming to the meeting. I was at the Public Safety Committee of City Council, who was holding an open session about the Los Angeles Police Department, and I thought it was important that I attend. Very busy weekend over the holiday for the Los Angeles Police Department. Had the mayor's prayer breakfast on Saturday morning. Followed by the parade in Chinatown, followed, or actually concurrently, with the marathon qualifications for the Olympic Games, followed by the LA Marathon on Sunday, and then, of course, the Grammys last night. So very large deployments, a lot of police officers assigned to special events this weekend. We also had an officer-involved shooting in Van Nuys on Sunday. Officers responded to reports of a screaming woman who'd been attacked by a man with a knife. When they got there, an officer-involved shooting occurred. I haven't got my 72-hour briefing yet, so I don't have any more details to give you at this particular time. As crime goes so far, as we come to the middle of the second month, we've had one more homicide than we had at this time last year, 35 as compared to 34. We have a slight increase in violent crime of right at 8%, and a decrease in property crime at about 3.2%, gives us an aggregate of a decrease in total Part 1 crime of 0.9%. Gang crime is about even with last year so far. We have a slight increase in overall numbers of victims shot of 4.2%. Traffic collisions are up slightly as compared to last year. Hit and runs are down slightly, and motor vehicle versus pedestrians are down significantly by about 15%, and bicycle-involved collisions are down about 43%, although these numbers are very fluid because it's still early in the year. Personnel statistics, we have 9,921 sworn personnel on payroll, 2,672 civilian personnel. That's 605 vacant civilian positions. One of the things I talked about at Public Safety was the need to fill our civilian vacancies, and also the need to consider the expansion of the Los Angeles Police Department. And one of the things I told them, which the Commission is well aware of, is that we police at a level of 25 per 10,000 in the city of Los Angeles. New York, Chicago, and Philadelphia all police at a level of 45 police officers per 10,000. So it's important that we recognize that in these times when police departments are required to respond not only to 911 but also to community policing concerns and terrorism concerns. About 400 reserve officers. We have about 372 specialist volunteers and almost 7,000 cadets in the program. And that concludes my report.
Thank you. Do you have any comments?
Yes, sir. We have 7 comment cards. We have Jojo Smith, Paula Miner, Jamie Garcia, and the Red Chief Hunt.
Jojo Smith, Los Angeles Community Action Network, Stop LAPD Spying Coalition. Chief Beck, when are you going to talk about the crimes the LAPD is doing? You know, y'all the biggest crime in the city, the biggest terrorists in the city. You need to resign, Chief Beck. You're a failure to the system. You allow your white supremacists to keep going on. Charlie Africa asked for y'all to leave him alone, but y'all wouldn't. Y'all killed him.
Next, please.
Paula Miner, followed by Jamie Garcia and the Red Chief.
In response to Chief Beck's report on significant incidents that occurred during the past week, I want to comment on the unbelievable and outrageously untrue theory posed in the chief's op-ed piece in the LA Times on February 11th, which we believe was in anticipation of some of the things that might arise at Public Safety Committee. In his attempt, in his words, to explain why there was such a sharp increase in violent crime in LA in 2015, and attempting to explain why he has not done the job he is charged with, which is to reduce crime, he poses that there is a unique Ferguson effect going on or being felt in LA. His faulty theory says that there's a lack of public trust, which creates a barrier to cooperation between police and residents, and that this has caused the most recent spike in violent crime. Ferguson, as defined, is the fatal shooting of Mike Brown and the resulting public outrage. This occurred in August 2014. The public in black and brown and low-income communities in the city of LA has not trusted LAPD for decades. We could go way back. We could talk about the Zoot Suit riots. We could talk about the shooting, burning of the Panther office, racial profiling, police abuse, the Rodney King beating, rampant scandal, and most recently, under Chief Beck's reign, the significant increase in officer-involved shootings that resulted in the death of unarmed and minimally threatening individuals. Chief Beck, you've been on the force since 1977, nearly 40 years. You are well aware of the distrust in this community. We believe you're trying to come up with an excuse for your failure to do your job, which is to lower crime, that you are blaming the victim. There is no Ferguson effect in LA, only an LAPD effect. And as suggested, maybe 40 years is enough. Thanks.
Next, please.
Jamie Garcia.
Jamie Garcia, Stop LAPD Spying. So Kathleen, I just want to thank you for at least being one of the commissioners here that's listening and paying attention. So I just got a text from people that in the coalition that were actually at the Public Safety Committee meeting, and it looks like we're looking to boost up to 12,500 officers now. So one of the things that makes me think right now is that if we're basing this on crime statistics, what I've known about our crime statistics is that they have not been accurate. They've been either low, they've been high, there's been issues about them all going all the way back to under the consent decree, that they were faulty, that we're not keeping accurate records. So I don't even know if we can actually say that we have anything legitimate to base on what we need, what kind of officers we need based on crime, because these statistics don't seem to even be accurate. And then I want to talk about the money, because we already know that LAPD takes about 54% of the city's budget, and I heard the police union was there as well, which I'm sure they're rooting on to get more guys on the force to make sure everybody's getting paid substantially. But again, how much more money is this going to take out of the city? We can't even move forward the body camera issue right now because that's on halt because of the price tag on that. So now we're going to have an additional price tag when we look at more officers on the streets. And then we're going to look at the effectiveness. So we already know right now that LAPD led the nation last year in 20 deaths, right? 20 murders of people. And that doesn't seem to be significant at all, even though the Guardian is now keeping track of this, considering how the United States kills thousands of people a year, or thousands of people a year are killed by law enforcement. So when we think about how much money we're going to spend and the effectiveness of this, and then what even we're basing this need on, I have to question this a lot, but it's no surprise to me that the union's there to make sure that this gets pushed through. So on the other issue of transparency, really quickly, I just want to agree with the sister that was speaking about the need to have officer-involved shooting when this is discussed, that they need to actually be in public.
Next, please.
And we also need to know who you guys are discussing this on, and we need to keep track on if the decisions that you rule on are actually being implemented by the chief, because it's very hard to tell who is in charge.
The next
because
speaker,
often,
the Red Chief
next
Hunt.
speaker? No, I know that, but often, so this is what we want to. This is what we want to. So this is what we want to know, and if there's somebody that can let me know if this statistic's actually being kept, how many times you guys actually when
Last
you rule,
warning.
and the chief actually
You're out. You're out. You're out. Next speaker. You're out. Next speaker, please.
The Red Chief Hunt is the next speaker.
Next speaker, please.
So I just wanted to know if there's anybody that keeps track of that. So I know that you were kind of listening to me, Kathleen, if maybe we can talk afterwards, because I really do want to know if anybody keeps track of the decisions that the commission makes and if the actual chief actually implements them. Because I know with Ezell Ford, we don't even know if he's actually disciplined the officer.
The next speaker, Red Chief Hunt, followed by Prentice Jenkins, Michael Williams, and Ted Hayes.
Good evening again. On November 10th, I was arrested while being black in the lobby. On January 15th, I was arrested in the city council lobby for something that they paid me $215,000 for. It seems I was arrested for working on the boardwalk. Here's an article again, $215,000 man get arrested for the same thing again. Is that part of the statistics? Is this why we want to say this right here? Have we said this enough? Because I'm brown? So I'm not selling narcotics or nothing like that, but I'm still being fucked with 74 times for working. Gosh, that's a goddamn crying shame. And you guys really want to know why people say fuck the police? and this is the sequel. Straight Outta Compton made $300 million. Fuck the Police is gonna make $400 million, and I'm gonna use Matt Johnson as my entertainment attorney to make $400 million, because this is what everybody's saying is fuck the police, because you guys keep on fucking with us for no reason. No reason. Keeping motherfuckers clean is not fucking with nobody. Shea butter is keeping people clean. That's not a crime.
Next speaker, please.
Prentice Jenkins.
Morning. Morning, Chief. Glad you can make it. I have a letter here about the incidents of keeping us and not searching our bags before 9 o'clock. This is a request to have your officers start searching our bags before 9 o'clock so we won't be, stacked up out there and they're still searching our bags. This goes to the, there you go, officer. Goes to Matt Johnson. We got a rash of hit and runs, huge rash of hit and runs, folks. And I've been talking about people pointing their cars at people and trying to kill them on purpose. And then we found that there was a gentleman who was killed yesterday on purpose by some crazy fool, didn't know him, just decided, hey, he's alone, he's jogging, I'll run him down. Then we had incidents down here downtown of people jumping curbs, and then the officers say, well, we don't know, maybe he had an emergency, a medical emergency. I want to know if he had one. And if he didn't, it was murder. People are actually murdering people with their cars. And the cops, whether you know it or not, I don't know whether you know it or not, but they are murdering people with their cars. It's probably coming from social media. See if you can get away with it. Run him down. Man jogging. And he jumped in the jogging lane and ran the man down and killed him. Chief knows what I'm talking about. They caught him yesterday. He didn't have any medical emergency. Watch these cars jumping the curbs. It's on social media, folks. They are killing people for no reason, just because they think they can get away with it. Hey, trust me, people will do that. The Nazis did it. They got away with killing 6 million people, so there's psycho people that'll do that.
Ted Hayes.
The chief recommends the DA prosecute an officer for homicide. Jackie Lacey says no. Does that mean that the homicide detectives, the LAPD, have no skill or expertise when it comes to homicide? No. The DA, the CA, has absolute prosecutorial discretion. As said often, in an indictment, they can prosecute a ham sandwich or not prosecute an absolute murderer. Now, at one time, the DA rolled out on officer involved. No longer do they do that. I don't know whether that was discontinued under Cooley or not. But Jackie Lacey can reinstate the DA rollout on officer involved. I would suggest the mayor and the chief make that request. If she determines that the LAPD is incompetent when it comes to prosecuting officers in homicide, let her get out there with her team and make a determination. She'll have absolute discretion then. So that's the question. Can we rely upon the DA to prosecute criminals? Apparently not. Not when it comes to a conflict between what the police homicide detective determined is a crime and what she said, based upon paperwork, is not a crime. So that's one thing I would suggest that we do. Then we have to look into catch and release. Many instances, people are arrested by the LAPD, put in jail, and the sergeant releases them. Let's call it a kick-out. Many instances, when they go before an arraignment, the DA or the city attorney releases them. That's a kick-out also. Those statistics should be kept and maintained because somehow it indicates the efficiency of the police and the city attorney and the DA when it comes to prosecuting people who are allegedly criminals.
Thank you. We have no other cards on this item. We're now On item closed session, we have 4 cards for 6A. We have Prentice Jenkins, Miguel Guillermo, Yvonne Michelle Autry, and Patricia Mendoza.
Is this for 1 or 2?
This is for 6A1.
Okay.
Prentice Jenkins, City Life newsletter, publisher, activist since 1991. I tried to find out about the dismissal of how many cops you've actually dismissed for discharging their guns out of policy. I couldn't find it in that book back there. I know Mr. T-Fink said it's supposed to be in that book, but I can't find it back there. So is there a...
There's an annual report that's prepared by the Inspector General's office that has a summary of all disciplinary matters.
Okay.
Mr. Sibley, do you know when that comes out, approximately?
We are actually going to be publishing more than one report in the coming months that's going to address any number of different statistical issues pertaining to officer-involved shootings, and that will include the findings in the cases and any discipline that was imposed in connection with those.
Great, thank you.
So how do I get the report?
So that will be it will be an agendized item in the coming weeks or months, did you say?
In the coming months, sir.
Coming months.
Okay. Okay, great. So when you do dismiss one of your officers, is there a process? How long does it take the process to dismiss an officer who is out of policy? Does it take 6 months, a year, 2 years, 3 years? Will I be dead before
that's not on topic for this matter. This is specific to this officer-involved shooting.
Okay, specific to this officer-involved shooting, how long would it take to dismiss this officer if you found him out of policy?
The commission determines whether or not the actions of the officer were in policy or out of policy. It then goes to the chief of police to determine discipline. That can be delayed depending on what the district attorney is doing.
Oh, okay. So the district attorney could take a year, 2 years. The district attorney could take as long as they want it. And until the district attorney determines whether they want to file charges, is that officer in limbo, or how does it work?
Miguel Guillermo, Yvonne Michelle Autry,
Well, what I'd like to state is in the city's regentrification process, in your implementation of this continued police state and under martial law, which is why all this money is being just funneled into the proliferation of jails and development of police departments and deployment of additional police officers to lie, steal, kill, and destroy and harass at large, and then murder, of course. Over thousands of community complaints still covered up as unfounded. This is a police state. We have not been formally notarized, but this is a police state, and we are under martial law. I recognize that these flags do indicate that. We were never formally noticed, by the way. Notwithstanding the police officers that try to serve and protect, I realize this is an order probably from the federal level or Illuminati or higher-ups to exterminate those who you consider to be the greatest threat. In exposing also working in collusion with, or however you're using the Mexican mafia to continue in the harassment, again, illegal entries, germ warfare, subjugation for those of us that still alive, to expose this modern technology of surveillance, mass manipulation, population control, mind control for those of us that are still speaking for ourselves, and then acting proactively but not reacting, subjugation of women who are single, especially black women. Because I'm single, I'm not homeless, I'm not a seductress, temptress, coqueta, whore for you to service, give up shots and sprays, get in and out in your attempted reverse to a misinterpretive version of a Bible to justify your extermination and subjugation of American citizens. I'd also like to state for the record that we are not in the trash on Skid Row as organizations like LA Can attempt to improve and to raise a quality standard of
Hey,
living
thank you
so
for
that
your
we can
comments. Your
remove the
time is up,
homeless from
please.
the swath of your murders. That was a
Ma'am,
murder.
please have a seat. Your time is up.
And that police officer should be found guilty of murder, homicide, and he should be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law.
Ma'am, this is your last warning.
And the final speaker, Patricia Mendoza.
And don't scapegoat a black police officer because we will not be satisfied with that. That's what you did with the other case.
Thank you. I just wanted to share regarding what I've seen, what I've been through. I've been a victim of these police officers. With all due respect, Mr. Beck and commissioners and the president, I haven't reported them. I have investigate them by other officers and some people in the public, and they've told me that they are the worst of the worst. I hope to see those officers like Chief Baca, because I'm not going to rest until I see them at the federal court and being investigated of what they've done to me. And this is nothing of what I came regarding my property. It's important that the city attorney knows it's reckless negligence, wrongdoing, and you are part of this cycle that keeps going on for hundred and thousands of years. And I will remind every man that is here, there's a reason why God brought you to this world, because you have a mission to do the right thing. And all you do the bad thing. But what you don't understand, we the poor people suffer every day. At our communities, we're homeless. We get threatened and harassed by the police officers. When is it going to stop? What's my biggest mistake that God gave me a mouth where I can defend myself? I worked in the law office. My attorneys, which I'm not going to comment, Mr. Beck, tells the city attorneys how to prepare the lawsuits, the criminal lawsuits. So that only shows me they don't know everything. And their negligence of many, many things. But that's another story. When is someone going to clean house? Because I will remind the community here, we are in power. Very simple. Look what happened to the city of Bell. They got together, these Mexican people, and they clean house. We are in power. We vote for you guys. We pay for your salaries. Thank you.
We have no other public comment cards.
Do we have any comments on 6A2?
No, sir.
Okay.
The Board of Police Commissioners will now recess into closed session to discuss items number 6A1 and 2 in accordance with Government Code 54957.
He just emailed me.
Yeah.
I emailed him. He emailed me back. I hadn't talked to him in a while. How's he doing?
He's a good guy.
You saw him at a wedding?
Yeah, I've known him. Our kids grew up at the exact same time.
Oh, really?
We used to hang together all the time. He said to me, "Do you know Matt?" I said, "What are you kidding me?" We're not messing around. It's the new.
We had such a great time.
Andy's going to check real quick to see if we have any participants who want to be present.
where do you put all the, where do you put all these passwords?
I put them in my, which I'm sure is bad.
In your iPad?
I have them,
In your
yeah,
iPhone?
either in the notes,
Yeah.
or actually in my address book.
Because there's,
So like I know, I mean,
yeah.
you could figure it out. You'd have to, it'd take a while.
I changed one to my normal password, but
Yeah.
the others
Right.
coming on the heels of my losing my ID card yesterday. So now I'm really nervous.
Yeah.
I left it on the beach.
The Board of Police Commissioners has concluded its work in closed session. We are back in open session. In closed session, item number 6A1 was discussed and the chief's recommendations were unanimously adopted. In closed session, item number 6A2 was discussed and the chief's recommendations were unanimously adopted as amended. Mr. President, is there a motion to adjourn?
Move adjourned.
We have a second?
Second.
And we are,
Aye.
Good meeting, everybody.
Yeah.
thanks everybody.
Hi, I'm Shannon Lamert Park. You're watching LA City View, Channel 35, our city, our channel.
I'm sitting aboard a World War II torpedo that is just a preview of one of the many fascinating things you'll find inside the LA Maritime Museum. So come with me as we explore this really interesting museum.